Well, welcome to another News Game Plus. I'm Dermie. Actually, I'm Joe Biden, and I'm here with my handler, News Game Plus executive producer Jason
If
O'Callaghan.
you are implying I'm Kamala Harris, you can go fuck yourself.
Well, no, it's the feedback from the last podcast.
Yeah.
I just remember because the guy said it went pretty well, but Dermie tends to ramble a little bit, and I thought, yeah, I kind of did. I listened back, and so I thought, yeah, a bit like Sleepy Joe on the stage.
we made the joke in there. It's, I did a really bad Trump impression and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm Kamala Harris, I don't even particularly want that many black men in jail for smoking weed. But hey, what do I? It doesn't matter. Can't talk about it.
Well, no, I'll throw that out there. I think going to jail for smoking weed's ridiculous, and I'm not. That's not been part of my life at any point. But I just think it's pretty dumb. But
it's pretty dumb.
That's going to be That's an interesting start, isn't it?
Yeah. We're off to a good one on a video game podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, we can't help it because people listening don't know that. Like for the hour or two before the podcast and about 5 hours after, we just crap on.
Yeah.
So
this is the slice where we're trying to be on topic.
This is a brief window when we try and control ourselves. They don't know what we were talking about just before this, but hey, look, let's do some gaming stuff.
Sure.
And
I guess like, have you actually been playing anything lately, or?
Yeah, I look at the moment. I've been playing a lot of my Evercade. I love my little Evercade handle.
You are. I will say that you've been both times I've come out recently to do the podcast. You've been bopping away.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a little cartridge-based system, so it's not like those crappy Android iOS handhelds.
Yeah.
I hate them so much because. Well, the beauty of the Evercade is that, I mean, the games come on carts, but you just load them up and they all come up in like one of those, select your game interfaces. You don't have to, it can be mixed across consoles now, so you don't have to like load up the emulator for something and then load up them. Yeah, you want to play a
so it's more of a Mr. style than it is necessarily like an.
It's really nice. It's and I hopefully them and Pixel Crib, who I buy them off, aren't listening, but I actually hacked mine anyway, so I'm playing what I feel like I loaded it up with Amiga games and stuff, and the Evercade I'd recommend 100% to anybody who's a retro gamer. You do have to buy the games on carts, and they come in little collections, a bit like when you used to buy a record and you'd get a whole heap of songs and you'd like 5 of them and the other 10 would be
like
crap.
an LP,
but it is kind of fun, and you know what? It's gonna, as silly as it's going to sound, comparing it to vinyl. There's I don't know if you know the pleasure of putting a vinyl record on a turntable and putting the needle on. There's something about putting a cartridge in a cartridge slot that just feels nice. Yeah. It just, I don't know what it is. I'll just do it right now because I like it. There we go. Oh, that was good. Yeah. There's something about it.
Yeah, look, and because we have some of those for Glitch, we have some of those Pandora's Box where you can play arcade ones, and like it's good to have them all there, but it is a little bit kind of death by choice, a little bit. You know what I mean? Like paralysis by choice, because you definitely. There's definitely so many titles. Like, you're talking into the thousands of titles, and it's like, well, and in the end, they just default to the same ones you've always played, and that's. Whereas if you've got these smaller collections, where it's, I'll give everything a go once, and this is what the Japanese used to do on, even 360, and they still do it today. Is Namco will sell you 14 Pac-Man games, maybe the 14 Pac-Man games throughout history, and there might only be 3 good ones. The problem is they charge you $60 for it, which is ludicrous. But like,
well, these carts are like 40, I think, $40 Australian. But what I've done with mine, and they do come like this, but I've extended that in theme. So you got a cart which is just full of shooters, right?
Gotcha.
Just shmups, and I love shmups, right? Even as an old person, I can still play them. Okay?
Yeah.
So
well, it's about pattern recognition as much as anything else. So.
Yeah, and you just chuck that card in, you take it somewhere, you just play. And if you got a bunch of Pac-Man games, like you said, I mean, sometimes you just feel like playing that. It's good fun.
Yeah, and that's kind of the opposite of. Like you mentioned, what is a modern portable console? The Switch. For all intents and purposes, what is a normal console?
Well, it's an Android tablet.
Right. Realistically, you compare it to, say, even the 3DS. You know what I mean? The 3DS was, there's games that are stuck on the 3DS that will never leave the 3DS because they were made for that hardware. And so I always figure the medium makes the art. Whatever the restrictions of the medium are makes the art. And I feel that's true, especially in the old days of gaming. Nowadays, we're seeing a resurgence of, it's a very postmodern era where it's like such and such simulator. Like, I got an email the other day for Slav Junkie Simulator. And that's not even a joke. They offered me, do you want a code for Slav Junkie Simulator? And I'm like, no, but it's funny that this exists. Like, that's how postmodern we are now.
That's kind of cool. Well, you mentioned Nintendo and Switch and the old games are locked in the old hardware. Where's Nintendogs?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the Picto Chat? Like, yeah. And
Picto Chat. My kids, when they were little, they'd sit in their bedrooms just doing that chatting, like just writing crap to each other, like. And Nintendogs, and there was also, remember you used to collect the Street Pass?
Yeah.
And the puzzle pieces, they were awesome fun. What
Nintendo, they do online Street Pass now. There's like a weird service system they set up for like people to do online Street Pass.
Oh yeah, I set that up in on my 3DS. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Although you can only change. I think you have to change every 10 hours or something. But you can collect as many people as you want. I haven't looked at mine for a few days. I set it up a little while ago, but I just want all the rest of the puzzle pieces.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's a point now where, like, if someone hacks their 3DS, Nintendo will say you're evil, but I don't think you are. Like, it's I don't think it's
once it's discontinued. I'd go so far. It'll never happen, but once something is discontinued by the company, it needs to go into public domain. The code needs to go up on to say GitHub or something.
I think that's also true of movies and stuff. I mean, this is a problem. We commoditize the culture so severely that. That's what it's become now.
If you're not selling it, don't tell me off for using it.
Yeah.
And also the big one I think that's going to happen in the future, because being a big retro gamer, you look at now what's going to be like to retro game in 20 or 30 years. Servers like you can't play like a lot of games because the server gets shut down. What was the one recently that the Crew or something that Ubisoft just took off? Just release the server code has to go up on GitHub, and people have to be allowed to download and make their own servers. Yeah. You can do it in Minecraft. You can set up your own Minecraft servers. Yep. You should be able to set up any game. And if the company abandons it, it legally it has to be forced to be put up.
Well, even Pal World and stuff, you can have dedicated servers on dedicated consoles. You can have your own server. You can have ones that they populate and stuff like that. So there's all those opportunities to do that. I mean, that's where Rust and all those games kind of thrive on that and survive on that. But I agree. I mean, a reminder though, you did mention it just then. Go check out the Xbox store, because the 360 store is about to close down this month.
Is it?
So they are selling them fire sale. It is fire sale prices.
Because that was
check it out tonight. It is fire sale prices.
That was the peak Xbox, I reckon.
Yes. Oh, everyone will tell you that was. Xbox, yeah. And that was them capitalizing on both. Like the Xbox had a good reputation, and it was an era where the arms race started to matter. And they knocked it out of the park, and they did very well. I mean, fighting games, you look at fighting games, right? Every fighting game was on 360 unless it was some niche, like Japanese one. And then they flubbed the Xbox One so hard that PS4 became the default console for fighters. I just use that as one example.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, if I go to like a BAM or something, it's all PS4s everywhere.
Yeah, and now it's PS5s, but even then, you can have the Xbox, and the same version on the Xbox is absolutely fine. It's literally the same game, and they'll cross-play. You can play Street Fighter I can have it on Tekken, you can have it on PS5, and someone can have it on PC, and we can join a lobby together and play. And that's how it should be. I mean, that's one thing I'll give Bobby Kotick. He said that's the way it's going in 15 years, and we're coming up on 15 years since he made that comment, and we are there, so... Yeah, he doesn't care what he can do as long as he can sell your games.
Well, the guy knows how to make money, because he made more money than most dev studios do in 15 years just on the sale to Microsoft. Yeah. He actually at one point was going to buy the Amiga of Commodore. Yeah, right. He's going to buy, because he actually went to Commodore apparently real early in the piece and said, I want to turn the Amiga into a dedicated console. This is way before
this
the CD32.
This is MX era kind of thing.
This is back, would have been the Amiga 500 sort of days, before the CD32, when Commodore tried it and kind of botched it, even though that was a really nice console, but the actual design was garbage.
Yeah.
But if he had done that, I have no doubt that right now you'd be playing the Amiga 7 or something like that. Right. Because the dude knows how to make money. Whether he does it in a good or bad way, that's another issue.
It depends what your hotel rooms end up having at the end of it. So. But for what it's worth, have you played Dave the Diver?
No. Is it about an Essendon full forward?
No. That's I'm not even going to say it. That's Matty the Sledgehammer. Matty the Sniper.
Dave the Diver.
Yeah.
Is it the Helldivers thing?
No. Well, that's the joke, isn't it? At the moment, my PS5 gets turned on for two types of diving: Hell diving or Dave diving. Dave the Diver is... It starts off and you're in this like idyllic resort. You get a call from a friend. He's like, "Oh, come check out this weird place to dive. You like to dive? Come check it out." And it's like
This sounds like a weird conversation.
Yeah, I know,
that
right?
cannot end well.
Look. And so you
hey, I went to a Christian Brothers school. I know. This has got me worried.
Yeah. And so basically, you just dive and you catch fish and sell them at this sushi restaurant that your friend runs, and that's the premise of the game. Since that point, I've fought kaiju. I found an underwater civilization. It's a farming sim now. I have like a Tamagotchi style Neopet. Like it's crazy. Like it's a game that there's too much game. It's a game that will not end.
I'd just like to reiterate what we said at the start, that I actually have no problem if people want to do drugs.
It is every time I'm like, oh, I can see where the story's going. It's going to end. It'll be like, oh, by the way, yeah, we are going to go down that rail, but dun dun dun.
What you've just described to me doesn't sound real.
Yeah, no, because I just thought
I went diving, I made sushi, and then I fought a kaiju.
Yeah.
It's like, this sounds like a story of 9-year-olds trying to tell me why you can't go to school.
Yeah, someone's on peyote, but no, like. It's amazing to me how
There's
this game
civilization.
just keeps adding more game every time I think I'm out. They pull me back in, like it's crazy. And so I'm legitimately of the opinion that I don't know when it's going to end. I'm only at 75%. I've got to be at 60, 70 hours of gameplay. And I expected it to be like something I could do on my, like, I'll just do a run. I'll just do a thing. And it's like, nope, here's all this extra game. Every time I think I've done something, another app on your phone's unlocked in there. You've got this part you've got to look after as well. And you've got to, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, look, I'm enjoying it.
You do find some strange games.
Yeah,
I know, when we were in Japan, you were playing that game where you're just washing stuff.
Washing stuff. Oh, Power Wash Simulator. That's like the best. That was game of the year.
You're sitting there till all hours of the night. We're in Kyoto, and you're just sitting up till all hours of the night, just like, yeah. And we're all going, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm telling you, like if it's on Game Pass, play it. It is zen. And when it comes off Game Pass, I will pay the money for it. Like I've watched the Mars Rover, I've watched SpongeBob SquarePants' house, I've watched Cloud Sword and Tifa's motorbike. Not Tifa's motorbike, fucking Cloud's motorbike and stuff. It's great.
Okay.
Anyway, you've got gaming news. Let's talk about gaming news now. That you don't have to believe me that game exists, but it exists. It's pretty good. You should play it. It's free on PlayStation Game Pass.
Yeah, I just sometimes I tell my kids stories of things they were when they were young.
Yeah,
halfway through, I'll stop and I'll think, did that really happen? And I swear.
Wait a minute.
I swear you're there right now.
Wait a minute.
Okay, look. What was looking? Oh, yeah, Nintendo. Nintendo had a direct, and they what they announced is a new Metroid game. Metroid.
So Metroid Prime 4 got
Beyond Metroid Beyond.
Yeah.
And there was actually a top tier joke by Ben Qualbert.
Yeah.
About the Beyond trilogy. Anyway, I just go check out Qualbert's site. There was also Super Mario Party.
Yeah,
Jamboree.
Another one.
Yeah, I'm having trouble reading these in the dark with my Android no glasses. I need it. But yeah, anyway, so Nintendo Direct, which basically looks like they've gone safe with all their old franchises.
Yeah, which
they're
means
not
exactly known for.
Yeah, there we go. So they know. Look, they know the audience. Was there any mention of? I didn't see any mention of Switch 2. Or is we still living on rumors?
So this is the thing. A lot of the things they announced. The latest they're coming out in 2025, if they've given it a specific date, was very much. How do I say it? Was like January, February kind of thing. So the argument is they're going for the May release again, because there was the only thing that got a 2025 date was. Metroid, and they didn't specifically say it was coming to Nintendo Switch. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's either a dual release or one of those. You know what I mean? Where it's like it'll come out on the new one, and you can play it on the old one. But yeah, they did say that they were going to do a specific direct later in the year to address the new one. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's not until like just before Christmas. They won't ruin their own hype for Christmas, basically.
Well, I think the rumours of them being backward compatible, the Switch 2.
I think that's pretty true. I don't see.
The reason I say that is they've finally bought a Metroid game that fans have been waiting for a long time.
Yeah.
It would be weird if they released that and it didn't. It only ran on the discontinued console for a
Plus,
few
plus
months.
Zero Mission got released on that stupid Nintendo Online thing, so they're definitely pushing more Metroid content out there.
So and yeah, people are looking for it. So I can't see them releasing that and then releasing an incompatible console a couple of months later. But they did go for the big one. Donkey Kong Country,
the remake. So no more rolling. That was my biggest issue with that game. You had to do this to roll. You couldn't push a button to roll. You had to, because it was on the Wii. So you had to hold both ends of the fucking
thing. So it's like that Sonic game.
You had to roll the controller. You couldn't roll just by pushing a button.
Remember the Wii? There's so many broken TVs. Yeah. Good fun, but geez, overused.
I'm playing Wii music. I'm just waggling my hand back and forth. Yeah.
I actually did enjoy the baseball. No, but anyway, I'm old. I also like the
Well, they did have a Wii Sports successor announced. They just added more games for basketball and a few others for Nintendo Sports, whatever they call it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So the Nintendo Direct, what got you excited? Boy,
there's a new Mario and Luigi game. Honestly, I've been off my Switch. I haven't played it I haven't even had it in my bag. Usually I used to have it in my bag. I haven't had it in my bag for...
Is that because it needs a Helldivers port?
Yeah, I mean, look, everything needs a Helldivers port.
Like
but
tracksuit simulator.
Yeah, Slav Junkie Simulator. No, I played Inscription on it, and I'm glad I played Inscription. Inscription was a wonderful game, and it was worth every bit of my time, and I recommend it to everybody. But since then, I'm like, meh. Like, Navigating Stories garbage. It really is starting to show. It was weak when it came out. It's really starting to show its age now. I do a lot of my gaming when I'm at home. Funnily enough, and Don Matrick maybe called it. At the moment, I'm watching more TV on my Xbox than I am playing games. Okay.
His name's right there. So.
Yeah, right. I've been watching more TV on my Xbox than playing games. I've been playing too much Dave the Diver and Helldivers. I need to play more Helldivers. Anyway. I've actually been playing my PS5 more than I have my Xbox, which is rare. But I just don't play my Switch anymore. I just don't play it.
They need a crossover in Dave the Diver. We actually dive down and you actually end up on Super Earth.
Yeah. I mean, that game, who knows, man? It could send me anywhere. I don't fucking know anymore. So.
They did announce the other day these big holes there with strange...
it's a different Swiss cheese and the planet and stuff. Yeah.
So, anyway, what's another one? I was actually going to mention. Anything else you want to say on Nintendo?
No, not really. I mean, there was a couple on Nintendo Direct. I was like, oh, that's cool. But I'm like, as a general, I'm like, meh. It was fine.
Yeah, I got that impression too. Like, I know a lot of friends were really, really keen on Metroid because they've been waiting so long.
I never liked the Prime series. Prime series is the first-person one.
Yeah, people were keen, but and there was a 2D Metroid a little while ago. But
Dread was all right. It was fine.
But one that's I know this will keep my boy happy. Have you seen all the stuff about Multiversus?
How they re-released it and stuff.
Yeah, so remember
they slowed it down and it's floaty now.
For a while, it looked like it was going to be another big fighting game. I remember at one point there was you go to like one of the
FGC events,
yeah, the Couch Warriors events, and they'd have it playing there, and they. In the long tradition at the moment of companies screwing their products, they've really made some bizarre changes that a lot of people are complaining about.
So they've brawled it. What we call, so from Melee, you had Melee on the GameCube, which was Smash Brothers Melee, and then in Brawl, it was made a bit floatier. You had the trip mechanic where you had a X amount of percentage chance to trip and any change in motion, just to make it less competitive. And so that was why there was a big scene with Project Plus and all that, where it was basically them removing the ability for the tripping mechanic to kick in. So you'd be playing along, and then suddenly you couldn't trip, and so where it would normally trip based on the dice roll in the system, wouldn't trip anymore. And that's what they've kind of done with Multiverse. They made it floatier. They made it easy to play. They've basically, people were like, I wonder why they took it down. My inside sources, I don't have that many anymore. I don't really keep up with it anymore. But my sources do say it was straight up a netcode issue. There wasn't any. Yeah, it was a. They didn't realize it'd be as popular as it was. It came out at the right time. It came out at a time when people were looking for things to do at home.
Yep.
The netcode was not up to snuff. All that stuff. But what they've given us in replacement is not ideal.
It sounds like a subpar product. One of the other ones that they dropped, because I've got a list here that I've seen people on Reddit and they complain about, but one thing that seems to be a theme is now you'll know more than this than me because I'm not big on the game even though my son is. At the end of the game, the stats and that don't show. Now, Overwatch did a similar thing. Overwatch 2. What's with the trend of not showing?
Okay, so this is one of those things that my generation copped. And keep in mind, I'm Xennial, so I'm on the cusp of Gen X and Millennial, right? But especially younger millennials, like who were born in like the early '90s and stuff like that, copped a lot of participation medals. Like, but you gave them the participation medals. Like the X's and the Boomers were the ones who insisted that their children get participation.
Yeah, that's like when Boomers complain about what kids are like, and you go, well, you
raised them, right? And so it's like anything like that was. Like, do you think the kids wanted that? Do you know what I mean? The kids didn't want to just feel like they were outcast for not winning, but you didn't have to give them a participation medal. Like the Auskick, they don't keep track of scores and all that kind of stuff. And I understand that, but Auskick is less than 10 years old. So that one I half understand, right? So after 10,
no. There's like that around when I was young.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that's kind of lame. But then I might sound like a Gen X.
Yeah. I'm the same.
Have a score. If you get beaten by 300 goals, you got beaten by 300 goals. So deal with it.
To be that guy, when I played 7-8 years of footy when I was younger, 6-7, something like that. Anyway, before cancer derailed my career. And I think 2 seasons we won the premiership. We lost 1 game in each season. And in the end, because I was the full back, I had to run it over to get a point. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got percentage points. We beat them by that much. We beat them 146-0 and stuff like that. Like, we were flogging teams left, right, and centre. And then it would come to the end and we'd be like, okay, last quarter, kick it down to me and I'll have to put it over the line to rush it behind so they get 1 point. And that was but then you'd lose and then you'd go, oh, this is what the other side of that feels like. And there was nothing quite like a hard-earned loss or a hard-earned victory. Like one of the premierships we lost, it was 2 points right at the end. And the guy who did it, he just, he crumbled. He was bawling his eyes out. It's fair enough. It's okay to feel that emotion. It's okay to have those peaks and troughs to tell you know you're alive. But now we live in Lexapro world where you can't have any peak or trough of emotion. You can have an outburst but you can always just blame it on. It doesn't matter. But
I played many years of basketball. I played footy as well at St Joe's, where a lot of the Geelong footy players played. But I was crap and I didn't get a game much. But but I played a lot of basketball, and one of my memories that I still kick myself to this day is we almost kept the team scoreless for an entire basketball game, and they got 2 points just near the end. And it still annoys me.
Yeah.
It still annoys me. I'm like, oh, how did we let that happen? So, but sometimes you lose those. Sometimes you get your ass kicked. But anyway, look, they're taking stats away. Is that what are they trying to achieve? Because it is nice to see if you do well. And
Sakurai always says that, I wanted this to be a party game. It's not a competitive game, blah, blah, blah. But he still puts every stat you could ask for after a match. You will see damage taken, damage dealt, items used, all that kind of stuff, right? So you'll see a list of who you killed, who killed you. It'll have a list of them, right? All that, and this is Sakurai, who was so against Smash being a competitive game that he wanted to quit. You know what I mean? And still he put those in. Yeah, and so he's on there. But that's what I mean. This is the Warner Brothers special. How can we commoditize anything, yet not insult anyone, but make as much money as possible?
So is it more corporates playing it safe?
Yeah, for sure.
Because they think because you know how they make games now effectively cheat to help the bad players out against the good players.
Yeah.
And so basically all the good players just get annoyed with it because they know it's making a more of an area of error for them and helping noobs.
Yeah. Well, that's
welcome to a good game.
When I run Mario Kart tournaments at Glitch, and I do them reasonably often, 200cc or bust. And 200cc has no rubber banding on. Even 150, as much as it starts to become a real game then, there's still rubber banding. So sometimes it's worth sitting back in 8th and 9th to wait for the fit 1 and 2 to get knocked out. Do you know what I mean? So whereas in 200, you are on your own skill. And so we'll have it, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 will be basically I do four people playing a four thing cup, and 1 and 2 are the cutoff and they go forward, right? And so that's how we score it. And so we basically do whoever wins the most races. Let's say we've got 2 people on 30 points. Whoever came the highest in the most races wins, right? So that we've got a system in place on how we do it. But if you have it on a lower difficulty, the rubber banding is too severe. You can't do it.
But it's good for a family game for that. But sometimes.
But that's what I mean. It can still be both. And I think that's you talk about the Wii. That was the Wii issue is. There was no choice. You had to do it this way, or that was it. And then I hate the removal of that choice give me a hard mode, but then chuck on a baby journalist mode. I don't care. Like, have both. And I think that's something Nintendo's embraced as they've gone on is let's have both. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't mind that. Have a journalist mode as well. I also have an old person mode, which is like a Geno mode. Like, hey, the other thing is so they made a little like gameplay changes. So to wrap that one, basically they're taking away the stats and everything to try and in a weird way to appeal to as many people as possible, make everybody feel like they'll keep playing. Going down that path we've spoken about a lot of times, trying to turn it into effectively a casino where you'll just feel like keep going.
Skinner box shit, which is a Blizzard special.
The other thing, and this is the sort of thing we keep coming up against different ways that the publishers keep doing it, and that's $30 for Batman skin, and also some you can buy for $14.95. This is Australian dollars. You can buy 1,000. The hell, Gleamiums.
V-Bucks,
V-Bucks. And each character is between 1,000 and 2,000 V-Bucks, and costumes are like 500 V-Bucks, but you can only buy them in lots of 1,000. So, we're still stuck with every way they can think of. We go through loot boxes, we go through it. They're still stuck trying to do these stupid ass ways of predatory pricing.
This is League. So Dota was the first ones to bring in loot boxes. They'll admit to that. Dota and CS were the first ones to do it, but it was always cosmetic. And Dota to this day, you could install Dota and play it.
Cosmetic, $30 for a Batman skin.
Right. I mean, you don't look up some of the cosmetics in Dota because they have the active marketplace. If you want certain punch hooks and stuff, they drop at ultra rare levels. You're looking at $300. Anyway,
well, we're talking NFT style ones here where they're unique.
You own them. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway. You with League, they move that onto paying for heroes. So you have 170 heroes, but you have to pay like X amount for them. And when they come out, they're broken. So for the first month, the meta is dominated by them. Pokemon Unite does this, but at the same time, Pokemon Unite now still offers you can earn enough points to unlock like heroes and stuff like that. But there's always a rotation that's free. They've given you a lot of opportunities to pick up older heroes, blah, blah, blah. But that's the League model. And that sounds like what Multiversus is going down, that League model. Whereas, like, say what you want about the fighters, you buy the Capcom Season Pass. You buy the game, it'll cost you $100. And then, you buy the Season Pass. Season Pass will cost you $50. But you'll get 4 characters. Guaranteed 4 characters. You know what I mean? And each time they do it, they'll balance tweak it. They'll change it, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, you are buying in still, but you kind of know what you're buying into when you buy in. Like if you haven't got anything more than a casual interest, you don't buy the extra characters, or you wait till it's on special. But if you are thinking, it's like cool. If you're spending this money, you'll get these amount of characters. You spend your $50, you'll get your 4 characters, you'll get your costumes, you get whatever. But like this idea of, like you say, this fluctuating amount of V-Bucks, this extra currency, because it wants you to forget you're spending real money. When you buy a DLC pack for a Street Fighter game, it costs $30, 30 Australian dollars. So it's easier for you to go, I don't know, 30 is a bit steep. But if it was, it's 3,000 V-Bucks. Oh, cool. 1,000 V-Bucks is $10. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard if you...
Might as well be buying cryptocurrency at that point.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Hey, there's another one. Apparently, you can no longer play as a character that you don't own when you're in training. That seems pretty sucky.
That's interesting.
Surely you want to try it. If I'm going to be paying $30 a Batman, I want to try him.
That is the one thing Pokemon Unite will let you do, is you can set up a fake lobby and test their skills, test their powers.
Sure, I get PvP, fine.
Yeah.
But if I'm just... surely there's got to be it's got to be a way to try it out before I fork out $30.
Yeah, and so it's not a real match. Like, obviously, you've only got one other opponent, so you can test it against, like, a strong opponent, like, as in someone that can take a lot of damage. So you can see how the characters' powers grow and what their things are. But I'm pretty sure you can do that on heroes you don't, Pokemon you don't own. That is crap that you can't do it for one, like not being able to lab heroes you don't own. Because then like, okay, my playstyle is X. This character looks like X. Oh, it turns out they're not. Okay, but then this other one is, if anything, it's cutting off potential sales. Like I play Zangief, but then sometimes any character I play is not like Zangief, and I'm like, yeah, anyway.
I only have 2 characters in the history, Lao in Virtual Fighter and Wang in Solar Calibur. He's not even in the more recent ones. I had to buy him one. So Multiversus is probably back dead. After a really promising start, I'd say based on these changes, it's dead.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. They've definitely, with BAM, we definitely tried to have them involved in stuff like that, and they gave away some packs and stuff, but they're not pushing it in any meaningful way. Warner Brothers is in such a weird spot because they got rid of all those studios. Suicide Squad failed. Now we're getting the full story on Suicide Squad. I don't know. I'm not particularly. There's nothing that Warner Brothers makes. I mean, every time they make a good game, they've made some belters. They made the Batman Arkham Asylums. They made Mordor, the Lord of the Rings games. Both of those were good.
The Harry Potter game.
I've heard it's all right. I've never
succeeded despite
I've
a lot
never
of people
liked
not
Harry.
wanting
Well, I
it
mean,
to.
it still sold 17 million copies or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I've never liked Harry Potter. It's one of those things
As
for
a
me where I'm
brand.
like, I've just never. It's never interested me. Maybe I was too old for it, but I just never.
Well, actually, since I've segued to Harry Potter,
Are you excited for Quidditch?
Quidditch. Well, I got it. Look, my wife got into Harry Potter and she loved the books. I always thought it was lame garbage, and this is because I thought it was bad before it was cool.
Yeah.
Look, the idea of playing Quidditch against other people doesn't excite me. So I actually joked here. There's Rocket League for bigots and turfs. But we'll see how that goes.
I mean, I was actually at a party the other day and someone brought it up and they were like, "Yeah, it's tough. Like, I obviously like the story and the world and the universe, but I can't be."
But the world and the universe is dumb.
I agree. As I said, did you like it? Like, I think I'm not gonna argue on JK. You can think what you want about it, but like Harry Potter sucked. I don't know.
It was always dumb.
I
don't get these kids that loved it and they grew up loving Harry Potter.
But it's the same.
And it's dumb. It's about private school, class-based society. You're born into whether you're good or bad. There's
the goblins run the central bank, by the way.
As a guy of Irish background, I do not recognise any birthright. Nobody has any.
Yeah, no gods, no masters.
Nobody is better than me because of who they were born.
Yeah.
I hated it. But anyway, Quidditch.
Well,
I reckon it'll be big though. I actually suspect it.
If you want to go down that route, did you see continuing Tolkien Racist Simulator? I.e., create your own little. You could become a hobbit. And
I like being a hobbit.
You are a hobbit. Quite literally, you're Irish. You're a fucking hobbit.
I like being a hobbit. Although the orcs bit's an awkward one. We went, but
as long as you're Swedish, you're fine. He likes his Nords. But yeah, just don't be an Urukai. Where did the Urukai come from? Don't worry about it.
I can see the Quidditch champions being big because weirdos play it in real life. They run around with little brooms between their legs. I don't know, they're weird. They're stranger to me than those Civil War reenactors in the US.
Yeah, but at least they're out touching grass. Like if we were talking about playing footy before, I'm like, play your dumb game. Everyone's game is dumb. No game's quite as dumb as rugby league, but everyone's dumb in its own way. So
the cross country wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, rugby league is just the worst parts of gridiron and rugby union put into the same game.
Yeah, well, it's loved by people in Sydney, and Sydney's a bizarre place. They like Kyle and Jackie O, and
that is true.
They're a messed up city that they like to think that they're
Kyle and
superior
Jackie
to the
in
rest
Melbourne
of us.
now. It's back in Melbourne.
Yeah,
now.
not doing well, thank goodness. They're trash. I can't stand it. But anyway, so Quidditch champion. I'm going to make a prediction. I reckon Quidditch champion is going to be massive.
I think
normies are going to love it, and they're going to microtransaction the hell out of the normies.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to find there's going to be like middle-aged menopausal women that are just going to dump thousands of dollars in this. It's like,
look, I'm from Hufflepuff. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh God!
I said to one of the girls the other day, one of the place where I work, she's they're from Devon. And she was wearing a jacket, and it had like a purple, because more of a burgundy lining in the jacket. And I said to her, "I'm just going to get out of the way. Every time you walk past, I think you're wearing a Harry Potter gown, like a what's that one that he's in? Gryffindor gown." I said, "What? Just because I'm British?" And I'm like, "Well, no, because you've also got the maroon thing there as well. But yes, it doesn't hurt that you're British, and every time you talk, you sound British. So
nothing's more British than a class basis.
Yeah,
maybe Indian. But anyway, so I didn't actually see any details about Quidditch, but I'm going to guarantee it's not coming out in PC. It's going to be a mobile game
for sure. Yeah. Well,
so
I mean,
you can milk the mums on their phones.
Pokemon Unite is smart like that. It's on the Switch and it's on mobile phones, so you get the Chinese market buying in because it's a Chinese game, and you get the Switch kits.
You get my daughter playing it and my wife playing it.
Yeah. I like Pokemon Unite. Somebody plays Dota, plays the Serious Business MOBA. I like Pokemon Unite. I'm passable at it. Like I'm reasonable at it. But I also see all the 10-year-olds playing it, don't know how to play, and I'm just like, God damn it! Like I know I'm almost 40, so I can't abuse it like a 10-year-old. But I'm like, bro, just watch any YouTube video. Just watch any. You guys don't learn off reading anymore. You don't know how to read. You don't know how to type. Just watch a YouTube video on how to play. Like it'd be nice, Anyway.
Almost 40. You say long,
40 next year, my friend.
A lot of years from the hot 30 under 30.
So that's literally 10 years. I got it when I was 29. So yeah.
Yeah. Hey, one that you might like, Lollipop Chainsaw remasters coming in September.
Yeah, I wonder if it's gonna have the music. Jared did bring up a good point in our Discord. That the music is what made it, and like the punk rock aesthetic is what made it.
Okay.
There was James Gunn and Suda51.
Yep.
So without that, is it going to be the same game? But it's still a cool aesthetic. People love cosplaying it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it'll still do fine.
And what have we got? Another one. I was going to talk about E3, but also I was going to mention Game Pass not growing.
Yeah,
it's
do that if you want.
So Game Pass, let's see. Okay, so Game Pass, since it launched, it's basically added about between 3 and 5 million people per year.
Yes.
And there's a lot of fuss at the moment how Game Pass is not growing. It's only growing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's still adding between 3 and 5 million users per year. In the last few years, it's added 5 million users a year. Problem is, as the number gets higher, the percentage gets smaller. So all the investors are like, oh, it's 13% down from 15% growth last year. And you go, well, roughly the same number of people got added. But it's putting
this is capitalism. You're literally describing modern capitalism.
It's putting a lot of pressure on it. And part of my ramble last podcast was about that. It's putting a lot of pressure on Microsoft with Game Pass because they've tried to sync they hope Starfield. I almost said StarCraft, but StarCraft would do it if it was.
Well, that's theirs now as well. They own that.
Oh, do they? Yeah. Oh,
well, it's a Blizzard.
Oh yeah. And they also own all the dungeons.
Yeah.
So it's putting a lot of pressure on Microsoft at the moment, and I wonder what they're going to do because I don't see how they can add. If they're going to consistently add 3 to 5 million people per year, which is a lot. Hey, if I was getting that many customers per year, I'd be pretty happy.
Well, 3 to 5 million by 18 AUD per month. You know what I mean?
It's a lot, but the growth they're worried about because they like to see high growth. Because managers are dumb, right?
Yeah.
They just like to see pretty graphs, right? But I do wonder how they grow it. And it's Phil Spencer. He's going to be under a lot of pressure, and he's probably saying to them, "Hey, it's growing steady," and they're going, "But we don't want steady. We want more."
Phil's, and it's interesting. This would be an interesting one to bring. This is a conversation I've had a fair bit with Rags from our community, and he. He's not a Phil Spencer fan. He's not a Phil fan in general. Didn't like Phil. What's his name from Sony? Didn't like Phil Spencer. And it's like his thing is what's he done? Like he had that initial surge of thing, but then what's happened in the last 5 years? And they've just had Game Pass, but that's it. And now Game Pass is starting to come off the boil. And I feel like there's been it's kind of a 3-pronged comedy of errors for him. One, the UK knocked back the merger. The UK, no one expected the UK. Everyone expected the EU to do it, and I'm sure the UK was doing it just to hide under the skirt of the EU and say, well, they didn't want it either, and the EU went, no, it's fine, we don't care, and like then UK was stuck as the singular market that didn't, and they go, well, we could granulate the market or we could work out these deals, and then Sony and that just rubbed their hands together and said, beautiful, if we can attack them in what is one of their bigger English-speaking markets, it's not America, then that's the time to get them. And so, you know, that was a setback for them, and they fixed that. Then there was all the rumors about whether they're going to start releasing games on other platforms, and they already had. I mean, Minecraft is on every platform. They've done Ori on a few platforms, and so they dipped their toe in it.
Oh, but you see some wankers in the groups going, "Oh, they're going to release Halo on PlayStation." You go, "Well, at this point, it don't matter."
Yeah,
because
you've killed that and Gears. Yeah, you've killed it and Gears. Yep.
Yeah.
The only one that you couldn't do Forza because everyone would be like, "Oh, I prefer GT." All that kind of stuff, and it's like
Forza's better. Sorry.
I agree. I mean, at least,
Sorry, Defense Force.
Forza's between 6 and 7, I think what they released 5 Forza games anyway. And so I feel like it's kind of a moot point then there was that controversy, and now there's the new ones with all their games coming out. So they had an okay showing. Like they did their press conference. They had the update of Fable and stuff like that, and they had a few games on there that looked cool. At the very least from a concept point of view.
Didn't seem to be a lot of hype though. Didn't seem to be a lot of excitement.
That was exactly what I was getting to. Is like despite that, you've got the people like State of Decay looks good. I'm really keen to play State of Decay, and which is me. There's a few others where I'm like, oh yeah, that looked cool. And like I say, the game with the black girl in Louisiana riding the catfish look cool, except for this stupid animation. Like there's cool stories being told, but I'm like, meh. Like,
but we're a long way from finish the fight Halo sort of announcement. There's nothing grabbing anybody like
correct,
that, which is what for a long time Microsoft just had.
We live in a world of anti-hype now, and so Sony spend most of their time playing defense, like trying to keep people out of their service so they don't get out of context screenshots and movies. You know what I mean? Like that was. That didn't kill Last of Us. They probably sold enough copies of Last of Us 1 and 2. You know, they're going to remake them all again.
They're going to remake it more often than Skyrim has
been
remade.
Right. And so now you've got Lego Horizon. Like, I can't believe of all the titles that they made, Horizon was the turd that floated to the top of that particular bowl. Like, I didn't.
I mean Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, I didn't even like the first.
That was
game.
popular with the female mode.
Yes,
they loved it.
Yeah, and
I'm only basing that on the 3
women that you
know.
Yeah.
But
like every good incel gamergator, you only know 3 women. One of them's your mum. Yeah.
I did the tape off long enough to ask me that.
But like
now I am Joe Biden.
Yeah,
or Trump.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. But it is one of those things where like. I don't get it, but I'm not the target demographic. I can only assume. But like the gameplay was meh. I don't like the universe as much as everyone else seemed to. The second game really jumped the shark. Like there was just all these things I didn't like about it. But that said, I loved Ghost of Tsushima and I loved Days Gone and I loved a few of the other ones that Sony released. But I just never got the hype around Horizon. And I'm like, it's not that kind of over the top Twitterati. Oh, the games are passing the white man by. I'm like, yeah, I just don't think mediocre games. I've always been pretty open to any kind of experience I can get that's not mediocre, and I don't know, Horizon to me has always been mediocre. So I think Sony has the advantage of Microsoft kind of flubbing it a bit and keeping him in the thing. But I mean, Jim Ryan, is that his name? I always forget his actual name. I know it's some Mick name. And he's gone now. It's Herbert Hulst.
It'd be O'Ryan.
No, Ryan's an Irish name. It's about as Irish as you get. But it's like it's not Kelly. Maybe it's Kelly or Ryan. They're both pretty Irish names. Anyway,
O'Ryan hand.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Do you want me to try to do Polish names
stop.
now?
Yeah. Kurwa. Yeah, that's what you are.
Jason Ski.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Let's do Japanese.
And with that, everyone just No. Anyway.
Should I press the mute?
Oh yeah. Just generally, just press mute. That's but no, I don't know. I worry about both Sony and Microsoft coming into this new era because the last few ones I've seen, and Nintendo doesn't matter. Nintendo are their own gated community.
Yeah, they play their own game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not worried. But I wonder what. I think Microsoft did hurt themselves by having that, like the investor conference where they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna release on all these kind of other platforms and releasing all these statements and stuff." Then they got rid of all those devs. Then they got rid of like. It's just been a cavalcade, and yeah, so it's interesting to see the sheen come off them a little bit because there was a bit of they're actually resurging after 360. They understand that it's about the games and not the thing, and about the UI and the experience on Xbox is better. I hate using the PlayStation UIs.
Bring back Blade.
Blade UI is still the king. My grandmother's nursing home before she passed had an old Blades Xbox, and I offered to swap him for an Xbox One. So I just want a Blades Xbox, and they're like, nah.
I probably have, but I've got 3 Red Ring Xboxes in the garage.
Yeah.
Probably still have Blade on
Yeah,
it. But I would say when you talk about the games there, at the start of this podcast, you talked for about 10 minutes about Slab Simulator or whatever it was.
Slab Junkie Simulator.
and the diving game.
Yeah.
And the pressure washing game, we talked about that.
Yeah.
They're not AAA games. They're not out of those.
The A game is a resurgence. If you can spend, because that's the thing. I mean, you pay a Red Dead Redemption or a Horizon, and you pay 200, 300 million after you've paid for your marketing to make that game. So yeah, every game is $50 US. So to make 300, you've got to sell 6 million copies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's still 6 million copies, right? If you can make a game, sell 1 million. Make a couple of million profit to start paying for your next game. That's where there's money. You know what I mean? Like A and B grade titles. And
in the last year or 2 year, BattleBit.
Yeah.
Was that the Helldivers was that's
and then
double A game.
Sony that. You know what I mean?
They did with No Man's Sky. Yeah. But that wasn't. Yeah, that didn't come from.
Yeah, that wasn't from them. And even the developers like still emailing the dev on Twitter, they're like, "What do I do in this country? I own this game, but I can't sign to a PlayStation game." Literally, the CEO of the studio just said, "I don't know, I'm sorry," and that was literally what he said. I mean, imagine putting your fucking main guy who's just made you tens of millions of dollars for nothing.
He got demoted.
Did he?
Yeah, no, might be somebody senior that got demoted. Yeah, and my son showed me. I said, I reckon that's to do with the PSN thing because they pushed back And I reckon Sony wouldn't have liked that. Companies don't like being pushed
Yeah,
back.
no, especially not Sony. And I don't know.
But it seems like the big games recently are all not coming from
No.
Microsoft or Activision. Well, they're same,
Yeah,
but they're not Ubisoft. They're not coming from there.
So I think they're banking on, because the rumor was whether Call of Duty was going to be on Game Pass, and they've confirmed that Black Ops 6 will be on Game Pass.
They probably they'd have to.
So you want to bring in an influx. That's going to bring in 10 million in 1 year, but then it's not going to rise again. You're going to need another Call of Duty to bring it in, and this has always been the problem with the Halos is they've moved away from being Halo and tried to be more Call of Duty in the way they play, and it's like. Just
they bought in Call of Duty people to change it.
Yes,
which is just insane. Why would you change something that's working so well?
Yeah.
But anyway, it's another story. We're almost at our limit for the podcast.
Yeah, I mean we can go over a little bit, but yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be interesting, and infinite growth is the mantra of the cancer cell. You know what I mean? So
it is.
Yeah. So
business model of cancer.
Yeah.
But it's also American business demands it.
Yes.
And it's an American business model.
Yeah.
They demand it. They've exported that here because I get told by other people in business. They go, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I go, well, no, I'm quite happy with how much I'm making. Right now.
Exactly, right.
I'm 55 and I'm like, what am I trying to be a millionaire at this point for? Like, it hasn't happened yet. I'm happy to just.
Well, I mean,
keep going.
At your age, I mean, your house alone makes you a millionaire. So
yeah, it does actually. Yeah. But don't complain.
When I was your age, I didn't have any avocado toast.
Only have one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You get to skip the guillotine. Yeah. Until we buy one in Japan, then we'll get the Japanese guillotine.
The second round of
Japanese
executions.
Still use the guillotine. I'm pretty sure the Japanese still execute by guillotine.
Didn't France execute someone like in the 1970s or something? Which is
that was the last one, 74. Yeah.
Yeah, that's full on. But anyway, where was I going with that? I don't want to be executed.
Yeah.
Just wait, I'll die of old age.
Yeah. Just give it long enough.
So it's just that's why people
on a long enough timeline, the survival rate of everyone is 0.
Death and taxes.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was saying before that. I Bidened again, but
that's
you
right.
can wrap it up if you want.
Sleepy Joe. Yeah. No, basically, Game Pass is still good. I can see the value waning.
Oh, it's a great product.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Game Pass. Game Pass is superb, and I think what they've done is great.
They forced Sony to that agenda. Remember, Sony was like, "No, we're not going to do anything like that," and they've gone, "Yes, we will. We'll change our mind a week later." Like,
well, Sony wanted to go to the $120 game model, right?
They still try it, my friend. They still try it,
and they can't. No. And so like they'd be happy for Game Pass to fail, but it's not going to, because when you got 33.3 million people at the end of last year,
on
2023. Yeah, that's so many. And as you said, that $18 a month from that's a lot of money, right?
And you can't buy it yearly. If you could buy it yearly, if you could pay $150 a year, people would do it in a heartbeat. Like if they were doing $170 a year, people would buy it. That's 2 games. That's 2 full price games. But they don't want people to look at the value like that. They want to pay for an ongoing subscription model. And it's up to $18.99 in Australia. 20 is the limit for me when I start to go. Netflix went up twice this year. It's $16.99 now for a standard Netflix subscription. They wonder why we're pirating.
I just changed my electricity plan to AGL and I get free Netflix. It was actually a good sweetener, I got to say, because at this point, it's when I first got Netflix, it was like $5.99 or something, right? You get the Netflix with ads. It's not that much more, but yeah, they one of the things on the plan said free Netflix, and it was cheaper than my current one I was paying. I went
the day I get you're not using your home base subscription for Netflix. I will literally just cancel Netflix and never go back, and I will go straight to
when you can't share your password.
Correct. The second I can't do that, I'm like, you can go shove it up your ass. Like,
why do you live in 27 different houses?
Yeah.
50 kilometers apart.
Well, I know what's going to happen one day when I'm in Japan. I'm just going to land in Japan, and they're going to be, this isn't where you usually live. Are you sure you want to? It's like, if you do that to
kind of is where you usually live. Because I mean, I that was the other open I was going to try and go with, but I couldn't make it amusing, even though the one I did wasn't amusing. It was you're 50% of Japan's economy. So you're basically propping them up now.
That's a whole other podcast, but that is, what is it, the thinking man's Bali, someone called it the other day. Batuta said that. It's like Japan is the thinking man's Bali.
Anything's more thinking than Bali.
And I would say at the moment, honestly, it's just Bali. There's so many people going over there. Like when I was there last trip, and I was just in there, I was getting on the train just after you guys had left, and I was just getting the train to, was it to Kyoto or something like that? I can't remember. And I met someone at the airport. I met Seth at the airport. That's right. And I met this Queensland a couple, and they had some kids and stuff. No, they were nice at least. Like they weren't, they were bogans, but they weren't those kind of bogans. You know what I mean?
Not from Queensland.
Yeah.
Well, they were bogans.
They were just, yeah, no. But they weren't like they were Queenslanders, but not Queenslanders. Like,
Queensland's Frankston, but an entire state.
Yeah, right. And so, but they were really nice, and so I was like, they're like, oh, blah, blah. I said, yeah. So what you do, you need to buy this train ticket, blah blah blah, and I'll show you how to get there. Because it was they were going to Nagano, they were going to the snow, right? And this is after I met Seffi, so we were all going up to the snow together, and I helped them get on the train and blah blah blah. But like, how many of them are coming that don't have someone like me who speaks their language literally? To get them on the train, the right train to go, and yeah, I mean, Hakuba is already the suburb of Nagano that's full of Australians. So it's already ruckus town enough, and now we're at 104 yen to the dollar.
Have they discovered that you can buy alcohol in the Quickie Mart for $2.50?
That's in certain places in Shibuya, certain convenience stores in Shibuya, they've stopped selling booze to foreigners after certain hours. And that was because that was the Americans, to be fair. There's this group of Americans that always pick this same Shibuya, and they all sit at the front of this combini and drink and leave their cans everywhere and carry on like fucking idiots.
That's cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Taking our Australian culture.
Yeah.
Hey, get off, Yanks.
Yeah.
That's our thing.
But, it is just ridiculous how cheap it is to drink there. I went to Thailand after my last trip to Japan.
Yeah, don't tell me what's cheap there. We don't have to. It's not that sort of podcast.
I mean, it's not that expensive in Japan, but they actually that's a different story. Let's do that one again. We'll do the sex tourism podcast coming soon. Sex Game Plus. But no, booze there is not as cheap as you would think in Thailand. It's cheaper in Japan, and like not even like that's across the board.
Oh.
Like, you can still buy beers at 7-Eleven in the middle of the night, but they're not as cheap. Like you can buy a beer if you like an Asahi, big can of Asahi for like $2.20.
I remember we were drinking those alcoholic
Sours.
ciders in the laundromat at
Yeah.
like 2 a.m.
Yeah, that's the Japan experience. That's the Tokyo experience. Yeah, well, say if you were drinking, that's how you know it was cheap, because you're not a big drinker. To be fair, to
Not
you.
anymore. I get
Somebody
heart,
comes from
I
Geelong.
get heartburn. So yeah.
And you can't get Gaviscon in Japan.
Gaviscon.
That's the main thing I warn people. You
Brill
can't
cream from my hair, Gaviscon.
They have Brill cream. That they have. Vaseline and Brill cream and stuff. That they have.
All these young people listening going,
They do not,
what happened?
They do not have Gaviscon, and you learn that the hard way.
You know, after 3 weeks in Japan, it got to the point where, because I was talking to my wife about this, we'd go somewhere, we'd see foreigners and go, oh, fucking foreigners, what are they doing here?
You know, right?
We'd settled in so nicely into the place.
Yeah. And we were in Rakustown, we were in Kabukicho, so that was interesting. I mean, you got to see both sides. I warned you that downstairs Chinese joint was a mafia front, didn't I tell you? And then we went past there and they were raiding it. Was that with you, or was that with your wife?
No, I saw that. I remember that. Yeah.
So I knew it was a front. Again, grow up in Dandenong, you spot the fronts, and then lo and behold, the coppers are raiding the joint, and all the cars have disappeared. All the Rolls Royces aren't parked at the front.
They did have some nice cars. Yeah.
So anyway, on that note, we should go. We are over our government mandated limit. Is there anything you want to add?
Government mandated. High elbow.
No.
I got nothing. I had a few. I'll say for next week.
Yeah,
I made notes.
My only addition is nuclear's a scam. Don't believe Dutton. It's purely a delaying tactic for coal. If you ever wonder what our politics are.
Got another minute. Yeah. I actually think that's only part of the story, and in fact, I reckon a minor part. They're taking us down the path of being a weapons manufacturer, and I think that's the bit nobody in media wants to talk about. That nuclear plants mean nuclear bombs. They mean depleted uranium ammunition, and we're at a point where the only way they can think of to make money, because the corporations are out of control, is to make weapons, because that's the only thing the governments can have any control over, and that's
and that's the one thing at the moment that Australia's been pushing, especially the last 3 years. Since the deal with the Americans, if we can refine the uranium, we can take the old depleted uranium. Suddenly we're breaking the nuclear non-proliferation treaty, but we can make millions of dollars. And the big lobby at the moment that no one talks about is the weapons lobby.
And there's been an uptick in 2 types of ads online at the moment, and that is army and prison guards.
Yes. Yep. I get copper ads too, yeah.
They are related. Anyway, we've just taken the podcast way away from gains, but basically
we're going back to our roots. This is what we used to do.
Potato Man's full of shit.
Yeah.
And he's going to get us all killed.
Yeah. Don't believe him. Yeah. Don't believe his lies. Yeah. Don't believe his untruths.
Nuclear is just the worst option we can do.
Yeah. On that note, don't forget NewGamePlus.tv, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, New Game Plus TV. We'll be uploading this, and hopefully they'll be going wider very, very soon. RSS feeds and all that kind of stuff. You'll see the process. But hopefully you all enjoy. Catch up on this, and we'll hopefully go back to live ones soon. I think once we get the
when I get a haircut, so I don't look so much like Trevor.
Okay, as in Trevor from GTA 5, yeah. Yeah, right, okay.
Going bald on top when you let it go long on the sides, it's a bad look. I'll get a haircut first.
All right, no worries.
Won't help it, hey.
On that note, bye bye. See you next time.